The human mind, a vast, uncharted universe. What if you could unlock its power? This is Mental Shift.
Let's just dive right into this explainer and unpack a really fascinating truth about our modern digital habits. Today, we're exploring why keeping your device permanently on silent is actually, well, it's an advanced form of self-preservation. You know, it's kind of funny. We walk around all day with these incredibly powerful supercomputers in our pockets, and we still call them phones, even though an actual phone call is literally the absolute last thing most of us want to receive, right? We're just constantly bombarded by noise, beeps, and digital demands. But what if silencing all of that isn't just a quirky preference? What if it's a deep psychological necessity?
Picture this. You're sitting in a quiet room. Maybe you're trying to focus, and out of nowhere, a phone rings out loud. Your heart instantly drops into your stomach. Your shoulders immediately tense up to your ears, and you frantically scramble to silence it, apologizing to everyone around you like you've just set off a literal fire alarm. Or hey, maybe you don't even remember what your ringtone sounds like at all because your device has been permanently set to Do Not Disturb since like 2018. If you know exactly what that mild, heart-dropping panic feels like, this explainer is going to make you feel incredibly seen. Because here's the thing, you are not antisocial, you're not a bad friend, and your nervous system is definitely not broken.
So here is a truth that our hyper-connected society really doesn't want to admit. We've built this culture that actively expects us to be reachable 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We're constantly sold this idea that being perpetually available means we're important, we're productive, and we're deeply connected. But for a lot of people, the reality is entirely different. For them, a notification isn't just a ping, it is a demand. When that phone buzzes, it acts as an exhausting micro-stressor. Your brain doesn't just register a simple little sound. No, it registers an immediate obligation. Let's actually look at the science behind why this happens. For folks with what researchers call sensory processing sensitivity, the brain operates completely differently. It acts essentially like a giant sponge, deeply noticing and recording absolutely every single stimulus in the environment. If you have this trait, I want you to know your nervous system isn't flawed. It's just highly observant, and because of that, it gets easily overstimulated. You are basically processing the world at a much higher resolution than the average person.
Think of it this way. Imagine your mind as a perfectly calm, still pond. When a sudden notification goes off, it's exactly like someone dropping a pebble right into the center of that water. Now, obviously nothing inherently bad happens. The pond is still there, right? But the ripples, those ripples change absolutely everything. They break your focus, they scatter your thoughts, and they completely shatter your inner peace.
Neurochemically, there's a super fascinating divide happening here. See, most people get a little hit of dopamine when their phone goes off. Their brains actually crave that unpredictability, that sudden rush of knowing someone is trying to reach them. But if you are someone who keeps your phone on silent, well, your nervous system likely prioritizes a different chemical called acetylcholine. This is a system that rewards deep focus, introspection, and stillness. You don't regulate your emotions through constant, unpredictable external engagement. You regulate through predictability and the absolute absence of pressure. Every uninvited buzz is a sudden expectation for you to perform and manage someone else's emotional state. And for an acetylcholine-driven brain, that is incredibly exhausting.
Which brings us to a really cool psychological concept called territorial comfort. Now, usually we think about this in physical terms, right? Like locking your front door at night or arranging your bedroom so you feel safe and relaxed. But muting your notifications is essentially establishing digital territorial comfort. Because you're so observant and easily overwhelmed, you need to regulate your emotions without external pressure just constantly bombarding you. By putting your phone on silent, you are actively building a psychological fence around your mental space. So the crucial takeaway here is that your attention is a sacred environment. By silencing the noise, you're making a conscious, really powerful decision. You're deciding that you are the only one who controls the volume in your digital space. You are no longer at the mercy of whoever decides to text you at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday to ask a question they could have literally just Googled. You are taking back ownership of your focus and your peace. Now, there is a deeper layer to this, and it honestly unpacks an uncomfortable truth for a lot of us. Often, this intense reaction to notifications actually stems from how we grew up.
If you navigated challenges in childhood, maybe you were forced into becoming the family peacemaker, or you had to constantly read the room, or you were just always anticipating other people's needs, your brain developed a hypervigilant threat detection system. You learned very early on that small, unpredictable signs could mean big, dangerous consequences. Because of that, unpredictability still registers in your nervous system as danger today.
And this hypervigilance creates a punishing, automatic physical reaction that we can call the notification stress cycle. Here's how it plays out. Step 1. Your phone suddenly lights up with a text. Maybe it says, "We need to talk," or even just a random, harmless question. Step 2. Because of that hypervigilance we just talked about, your body instantly floods with stress chemicals. Step 3. Your brain genuinely perceives an immediate crisis that you now have to manage. So a simple, random text triggers a massive physical stress response, simply because you are terrified of letting people down.
And that leads us to a really profound realization. You keep your phone on silent not because you don't care about your friends, your family, or your work. You keep it on silent because you care so much that it literally physically hurts. When you silence that noise, it's a desperate, entirely necessary way of telling your nervous system that it is safe. It is a signal to your brain that nothing urgent is required of you right now, and that you do not have to fix anyone's problems right this very second.
We really need to completely reframe how we view this behavior. Society might label you as a bad friend or complain that you're too hard to reach, but keeping your phone on Do Not Disturb is actually a highly intelligent adaptation. For sensitive people who process the world so deeply, opting out of the notification machine isn't a flaw. It's a brilliant, necessary boundary. It is exactly how you survive and thrive in an overwhelmingly loud world that frankly wasn't built for people who think and feel as deeply as you do.
Ultimately, you aren't avoiding connection. You are avoiding the pressure of performance. Choosing silence is the ultimate form of self-respect. You inherently understand that true, authentic connection does not require constant, immediate output. When you finally do check your messages on your own terms, when you're actually ready, you are bringing your whole recharged self to the conversation. You aren't just offering people a depleted, anxious version of yourself who's only reacting out of pure obligation.
So the next time someone asks why it takes you 4 hours to reply to a text, just remember that you aren't doing anything wrong. You're simply protecting your peace, and honestly, that makes you incredibly wise. Which leaves us with this to think about. If our greatest peace is found in silence, what does our modern obsession with constant, demanding noise actually cost us? Protect your attention, guys, because at the end of the day, it's the only real currency you have.
If this video changed the way you think, make sure to hit like and subscribe to Mental Shift, because understanding the mind and the next idea that transforms your perspective might your life.